Larry and his friends were sitting in their dorm room, playing video games and chatting about their plans for the weekend. They had no idea that their lives were about to change forever. Suddenly, the TV screen went blank and a loud voice boomed from the speakers. "Attention, chosen ones! You have been summoned by the Great Oracle to embark on a quest of epic proportions. You must save the world from the evil Lord Zalazar and his army of darkness. You have been granted special powers and abilities to aid you in your mission. You will be teleported to the Oracle's temple in 5 minutes. Prepare yourselves and do not resist. This is your destiny." The 4 friends looked at each other in disbelief and confusion. Was this some kind of prank? A glitch in the game? A hallucination? They tried to turn off the TV, but it didn't work. They tried to leave the room, but the door was locked. They tried to call for help, but their phones were dead. They realized they had no choice but to wait and see what would happen next. 5 minutes later, they felt a strange sensation in their bodies and everything went black. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves in a large hall with marble columns and statues. A hooded figure was standing in front of them, holding a staff. "Welcome, chosen ones. I am the Great Oracle, the one who summoned you here. You are the heroes of prophecy, the ones who will defeat Lord Zalazar and restore peace and harmony to the world." The friends were speechless. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. "Who are you? Where are we? What are you talking about?" Larry asked, trying to sound brave. "I will explain everything in due time. But first, let me introduce you to your powers and abilities. You have been blessed with gifts that will make you invincible in battle. Larry, you are the leader of the group. You have super strength and speed, as well as a sword that can cut through anything. James, you are the brains of the group. You have telepathy and telekinesis, as well as a book that contains all the knowledge of the world. Matt, you are the heart of the group. You have healing and empathy, as well as a shield that can protect you from any harm. Brian, you are the spirit of the group. You have invisibility and flight, as well as a bow that can shoot arrows of light." The Oracle handed each of them their respective items and continued, "These are your weapons and tools for your quest. Use them wisely and with care. You will face many dangers and challenges along the way, but you will also find allies and friends who will help you. Your first destination is the Forest of Shadows, where you will meet your guide and mentor, a wise old man named Merlin. He will teach you more about your powers and how to use them effectively. He will also give you clues about Lord Zalazar's whereabouts and plans. To reach him, you must cross a bridge guarded by a fearsome troll who will ask you 3 riddles. If you answer them correctly, he will let you pass. If not, he will eat you alive." The Oracle paused and looked at them with a serious expression. "Remember, chosen ones. The fate of the world rests on your shoulders. You are the only ones who can stop Lord Zalazar and his evil forces. Do not let fear or doubt cloud your judgment or weaken your resolve. Trust in yourselves and each other. You have been chosen for a reason. You are heroes." With that, he waved his staff and opened a portal behind him. "Go now, chosen ones. Your quest begins now." He pushed them through the portal and closed it behind them. Larry and his friends found themselves in a dark forest with twisted trees and eerie sounds. They looked around nervously and clutched their items. "What do we do now?" James asked. "I guess we follow this path," Larry said, pointing to a dirt road that led deeper into the woods. "Are we really going to do this?" Matt asked. "Do we have a choice?" Brian asked. They shrugged and nodded. They started walking along the path, hoping to find Merlin soon. They didn't know what awaited them ahead. They didn't know how hard their quest would be. They didn't know how much they would lose along the way. The 4 friends finally reached the Oracle's temple after facing many dangers and obstacles along the way. They entered the sacred chamber where the Oracle awaited them. She was a mysterious woman with a veil covering her face and a crystal ball in her hands. She greeted them and told them that they had been chosen by fate to fulfill a prophecy. She said that each of them had a special role to play in the upcoming war between good and evil. She then revealed their destinies one by one. Larry was the leader of the group and the chosen one. He was destined to wield the Sword of Light and defeat the Dark Lord who threatened to destroy the world. He was also the heir of the ancient kingdom of Loria, which had been hidden for centuries. Matt was the protector of the group and the guardian of nature. He was destined to use his magic to heal the wounds of the land and restore balance to the elements. He was also the last of the Druids, a race of wise and powerful beings who could communicate with animals and plants. Brian was the warrior of the group and the champion of justice. He was destined to fight with courage and honor against the forces of darkness and tyranny. He was also the son of a legendary hero named Paul who had sacrificed himself to save his people from a dragon. James was the scholar of the group and the master of knowledge. He was destined to uncover the secrets of the past and present and use his intelligence to solve problems and puzzles. He was also the descendant of a great wizard who had created many wonders and inventions. The oracle then turned to the last member of the group. Second chapter. The four friends followed Merlin deeper into the Forest of Shadows. The trees were twisted and gnarled, and the air was thick with mist. They could hear strange noises and see glowing eyes in the dark. "Are you sure this is the right way?" Brian asked nervously. He clutched his crossbow tightly, ready to shoot at anything that moved. "Trust me, young ones. I know this forest like the back of my hand," Merlin said confidently. "We are heading to the hidden temple, where the great oracle awaits us. She will tell us more about our quest and how to stop Lord Zalazar." James tried to read Merlin's mind, but he found it hard to penetrate his thoughts. He sensed a lot of wisdom and power, but also some secrets and mysteries. He wondered what Merlin was hiding from them. Larry felt a surge of courage as he held the Sword of Light. It was a magnificent weapon, forged by the ancient gods. It shone brightly in the gloom, and he felt its warmth in his hand. He felt like he could face any danger with it. Matt stayed close to his friends, ready to heal them if they got hurt. He was not a fighter, but he had a kind heart and a gentle touch. He hoped they would not encounter any enemies in the forest. They walked for what seemed like hours, until they reached a clearing. In the middle of it, there was a large stone archway covered with vines and ruins. Merlin stopped and gestured to it. "Behold, the entrance to the hidden temple. Only those who are worthy can pass through it. Are you ready?" he asked. The four friends nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. They followed Merlin as he approached the archway and spoke a word of power. The vines parted and revealed a dark tunnel. "Come on, let's go," Merlin said, and entered the tunnel. The four friends followed him, wondering what awaited them inside. Third chapter. The tunnel was dark and damp, and the only light came from Larry's sword. They could hear water dripping and rats scurrying. They walked cautiously, not knowing what dangers lurked in the shadows. "Are we there yet?" Brian asked impatiently. He hated being in enclosed spaces, and he wished he could see the sky. Soon, Merlin said. "The temple is not far now." "Just a little bit more." James felt a sudden chill in his spine. He sensed a hostile presence nearby, and he alerted his friends. "Guys, I think we're not alone. There's something in here with us," he said. "What is it?" Larry asked, gripping his sword. "I don't know. It's big and angry and hungry," James said. "Where is it?" Matt asked, looking around nervously. "It's coming from behind us," James said. They turned around and saw a huge creature emerge from the darkness. It had a body of a lion, a head of a snake, and a tail of a scorpion. It roared and hissed and stung, and it charged at them. "Run!" Merlin shouted. They ran as fast as they could, but the creature was faster. It caught up with them and swiped at them with its claws. Larry blocked its attack with his sword, but the impact knocked him off his feet. The creature opened its mouth and prepared to bite him. "Get away from him!" Brian yelled. He aimed his crossbow and shot an arrow at the creature's eye. The arrow hit its mark, and the creature howled in pain. It let go of Larry and turned to face Brian. James used his telepathy to confuse the creature. He projected images of fire and ice into its mind, making it feel hot and cold at the same time. The creature shook its head and tried to clear its thoughts. Matt ran to Larry and healed his wounds. He helped him stand up and gave him his sword. "Are you okay?" Matt asked. "Yeah, thanks to you," Larry said. They regrouped with Brian and James, who were still fighting the creature. They joined them in the battle, using their skills and weapons to fend it off. They fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outmatched. The creature was too strong and fierce for them to handle. They soon realized they had no chance of winning. "We can't beat it," James said. "We have to get out of here." "But how?" Matt asked. "It's blocking the way." Merlin looked around and saw a small opening in the wall. He pointed to it and said, "There. That's our way out. Follow me." He ran towards the opening and squeezed through it. The four friends followed him, leaving the creature behind. They found themselves in another tunnel, but this one was brighter and wider. They could see light at the end of it. "Come on, hurry," Merlin said. They ran towards the light and emerged into a large chamber. They saw a beautiful woman sitting on a throne made of crystal. She had long silver hair and blue eyes that shone like stars. She wore a white robe and a golden crown. She smiled at them and said, "Welcome, brave heroes. I am the Great Oracle." Chapter 4. Merlin and his friends continue their quest to find the Oracle, a mysterious being who can reveal the secrets of the past and the future. They have to face many dangers and enemies along the way, including Lord Zalazar, a ruthless warlord who wants to use the Oracle's power for his own ambitions. Larry the swordsman proves his bravery and loyalty by saving Merlin from a deadly. Matt the pacifist and healer heals their wounds and comforts them with his wisdom and compassion. Brian the archer shows his skill and courage by shooting down a dragon that attacks them. They finally reach the Oracle's temple, but they discover that it is guarded by a powerful enchantment that only Merlin can break. Merlin has to face his inner demons and overcome his doubts and fears to unlock the Oracle's chamber. He succeeds, but he also unleashes a dark force that threatens to destroy everything. The Oracle reveals itself to be an ancient spirit that was corrupted by evil magic long ago. The Oracle tells Merlin that he is the chosen one who can restore balance to the world, but he has to sacrifice himself to do so. Merlin is torn between his destiny and his friends, who beg him not to go through with it. He decides to trust the Oracle and gives up his life, hoping that his sacrifice will bring peace and harmony to the world. Was Merlin's death really necessary, or was there another way? Chapter 5. Merlin is resurrected and returned to life. He and his friends had finally reached the Dark Tower, where Lord Zalazar was holding the Oracle captive. They had fought their way through hordes of orcs, goblins, trolls and other creatures of darkness. They had lost many allies along the way, but they never gave up hope. They entered the tower and faced Zalazar himself, who was surrounded by his elite guards. He was a tall and muscular man, with pale skin, black hair and red eyes. He wore a black cloak and a crown of thorns. He held a staff of bone in his hand, which crackled with dark energy. "Welcome, Merlin," he said with a sneer. "You are too late. The Oracle is mine. And with her power, I will unleash the end of days upon this world. Nothing will stop me now." Merlin stepped forward, holding his own staff of wood. He was a young and handsome man, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He wore a blue cloak and a silver pendant. He was the last of the Druids, the guardians of nature and magic. "You are wrong, Zalazar," he said with courage. "The oracle is not yours to control. She is a free spirit, a messenger of the gods. And we are here to free her from your tyranny. You will not destroy this world. We will stop you." Zalazar laughed wickedly. "You and what army? Look around you, Merlin. Your friends are outnumbered and outmatched. My guards are loyal and powerful. And I have the oracle's power at my disposal. You have no chance." Merlin looked around him. He saw his friends standing by his side, ready to fight. There was Larry, his best friend and the rightful king of Camelot. He wore a suit of armor and wielded Excalibur, the legendary sword of kings. There was James, whom Merlin loved dearly, and Jenna was his queen. Brian wore a suit of white armor and held a bow and arrows. There was Matt, one of King Arthur's knights. He wore a suit of chainmail and wielded a lance and a shield. There was Morgan Collins, Zalazar's daughter and Garrett's wife. She wore a dress of black and held a dagger and a spellbook. They were all brave and loyal, but they were also tired and wounded. They had faced many dangers on their quest to find the oracle, and they had paid a heavy price. Merlin knew they had little chance against Zalazar and his army of darkness, but he also knew they had to try. He raised his staff and shouted, "For Camelot! For freedom! For the oracle!" He cast a spell of light at Zalazar, who blocked it with his staff of bone. The battle began. It was a fierce and bloody fight. Merlin and his friends fought with all their might against Zalazar and his guards. They used their weapons, their magic and their wits to overcome their enemies. But they were outnumbered and outmatched. One by one, they fell. Larry was stabbed in the chest by a guard's sword. James was shot in the back by an arrow. Brian was burned by Zalazar's fire. Matt was crushed by Zalazar's staff. Merlin was left alone. He looked at his fallen friends with tears in his eyes. He looked at Zalazar with rage in his heart. He looked at the oracle with hope in his soul. She was a beautiful woman, with long golden hair and bright green eyes. She wore a dress of white and a crown of flowers. She was chained to a pedestal in the center of the tower, surrounded by ruins and candles. She looked at Merlin with pity in her gaze. She spoke to him with her mind. "Merlin, I'm sorry. You have done well. But it is not enough. Zalazar is too strong. He has drained my power. He will end this world. Unless..." She paused. "Unless what?" Merlin asked with his mind. "Unless you do something. Something drastic. Something dangerous. Something that will cost you your life." She told him what he had to do. He understood. He nodded. He made his choice. He gathered all his remaining magic in his staff. He ran towards Zalazar, who was too busy gloating over his victory to notice him. He reached him and stabbed him in the heart with his staff. He shouted, "For my friends. For this world. For the oracle." He unleashed all his magic in one final blast of light and killed Zalazar.